Just a couple of minutes before noon. We'll say good morning then. And this is Gulfstream Park today. Ron Nicoletti, Brian Nato, of course, Samantha will be joining us throughout the afternoon. We are starting today fast, firm, and we have the all-weather Tapeta. Threats of rain all around, but we are lucky once again.
Right now we're okay. We'll just have to see. It'll be a work in progress, but the weather is pretty darn nice. A little cut in the air for the first time in probably since before you left to go up to Baltimore. And big doings yesterday, huh? Somebody swept that rainbow.
Yeah, $143,000.
Yeah.
And 2 horses alive. And when you looked at these horses,
Yep.
Brian and I both said, and mostly Brian said, hey, if I had this horse, number 4 horse, I'd be pretty happy with being for 143. There you see it right there. So, Love You Morgan, a price, Culpa, a price, both of those Safi, right?
Yeah, and this is, I just want to talk about this quickly because this goes back to what we talk about, Ron, a lot. Julie's Legacy, okay, my best bet of the day. I thought she was a cinch.
Right.
Edith was odds on,
Yeah,
maybe?
yes, she was.
Let's Go Coco was 7-1. She wasn't 39-1.
Right.
That got you $143,000. So golf clap to whoever got that and took it down. You got the other Safi
Yeah,
twice in a row there
yeah.
to start the rainbow. Good stuff.
Good stuff, and that's we say the beauty. It doesn't have to pay when it's play when it's mandatory day. You can play it and get a good score here. So that's what we'll be doing today. Now to kick off in race number 4. But today's first race is going to be on the turf, and it's firm. It's a starter optional claimer. These are 3-year-olds, and we have no scratches or jockey changes. And we have 2 things going on in this first race. We have Brian's pick 5, and we also have Samantha's tropical turf pick 3. Do you remember ever starting in the first race?
I do not.
Me neither.
No, and the last race is not a turf race either. So we'll start early and end a little bit earlier than normal as well. Take a look at my 5, and then we'll get to Samantha's ticket in a second. A little bit of a rework, Ron. A couple scratches early on that kind of forced me to rework a little bit. Race 2, I've got the 9, and that is Burn It All in a spread race. Race 3, I've got the 4, Damache Gras. Race number 4, I've got the 4, and that is my long shot, which will not be a long shot anymore, with a huge scratch in there of the 3, Gallant Knight. And in race 5, there's my best bet of the day. That is Basilia for Safi, who had himself a day yesterday, although it was a little out of the ordinary at, 12-1 and 22-1 to start that rainbow?
Yeah, unbelievable. You had Staffy daily double that paid, whatever it paid. Amazing. So just one of those days. And Samantha's tropical turf pick 3, and she's going 3 deep in the first race. She's got the 2, the 5, and the 6. Brian also has the 5 and the 6 Win with Faith in Murabea. Then you go all the way to race number 5, and she has a single, and let's see which one that is. And that is Basilia, and we're going to stand on that horse at Safi Joseph Jr. in there. And then the last, which is race 8, as Brian mentioned, not the last race today, and that's where the Coast to Coast pick 5 is going to start, and she's got 3 deep, 3, 5, and 8. We got a video of Battle Call, the number 3.
Yeah, and in race number 5, that's interesting because Safi's got 2 turf runners in there taking over. They're newcomers to the barn, one of them for John Stewart. And
we actually have a stat on both of them. Well, the same stat because he's taking over both of them, so we'll showed that a little later on. So getting to this first race, we got a couple of videos we want to show you, right? Let's go with the 5, Win with Faith. We'll start with that one first.
So here's the favorite, Win with Faith. And why is he favored? Well, he's been second in 2 straight stakes races, the last in open company, and it was a darn good effort. Win with Faith here on May 3rd in the English Channel. Tank, this ended the card for Carlos David. He had won the last 3 races on the card. But Win with Faith runs huge here. You can see Forge Steel on the inside, Tank for the Arundel on the outside. Win with Faith is second. He backed that second at Tampa up behind Tank. So he's not going to be too irritated when he looks to his left or right and doesn't see Tank in the starting gate.
Tank will be in the stake on Saturday.
Okay.
Next Saturday coming up, he's in the stake. What's the boy stake?
We got the Not Surprising and then Martha Washington on Saturday.
Yeah, so he's the Not Surprising for sure, and he might be the favorite in that race. I just took a glance at him, just got the PPs this morning, so make sure you go and take a look at those races in there. And now you got more about who's the other horse. There's actually the horse you have on top.
I do, and Samantha had chased this horse a few different times, and he finally delivered. And I'm going to tell you what, okay, I know this turf course is all speed. We get all that. We're going to show you this race and just how hard and how good Murabea ran in this spot, because he's getting dogged on the lead by Develop Product. I think I actually picked Develop developed product that day. That did not work well because he got completely fried. Developed product is nowheresville in this race. And right here, you know, you're looking at these fractions, Ronnie, 22 and 4, 46 flat, and you're kind of thinking, well, this is going to absolutely fall apart. Genuine Gomo is loaded on the inside, and lo and behold, Murabah not only guts this out, Murabah wins by 3.5 lengths. This was a power effort. You can look at this race all day and all night long, Ron. They're not going to find anybody that's going to run with him today in this race early. He is facing winners. It is a significant class rise, but boy, he is coming in off a power effort.
And getting our leading rider, Edgar Zayas, this afternoon. So certainly a horse that's a couple of horses you definitely want to take a look at in race number 2. Race number 1, we're going to race number 2. 5.5 furlongs on the Tapeta. These are maiden claimers, and they are fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. We're going to scratch the 7, Debs C. Breeze. And this is where, Brian, you're going to pick 4 in here.
Yeah, it's just, well, I'll tweet that out. It's a run back. We got a lot of videos to show and stuff. It's just a repeat of my early pick 5. So we'll tweet that out, and I'll tell you what, Ron, I thought this was a big spread race.
Yeah, absolutely. If you look at my past performances here, you'll see with all the scribbles. I changed it about 8 times. But let's start with the 9, Burn It All. This is Jose Garofalo, Miguel Vasquez.
Yep, we're outside. We've got some speed. We've got a horse that has run well on Tapeta but hasn't knocked down the door. And here's the other thing, too. Burn It All's coming out of fast races for the level. You know, Elagio was good last time, and you see him sprinkled in the past performances. I think Miguel Vasquez will take a little bit of an aggressive approach in here, try to press the inside speed, and maybe we get first run because your horse, I'm not really sure where he's going to be, and I think Arroyo Dora, for Marty Drexler, definitely the horse to beat.
Definitely the horse to beat. But, you know, Brian, when you go through and you look at the horses, no one's really stepped up.
Nope.
As I say, so the reason I wanted to talk to you about this horse is game-winning pass. I know the horse has got the inside, but it's Eddie Plesa Jr. You're getting Lasix. He's good. Maybe he gets this debut maiden claimant to run well today. You're
going to have to be hustled away from there, and Eddie got a win the other day. It was good to see because Eddie quietly had a huge championship meet. He really did. The rail is tough. I feel like the program has changed in the past 3 to 5 years with Eddie Plesa. He's not really gearing him up anymore on debut. You can see he's just 0 for 12. But this is such a solid, just Florida legendary horseman. Simple as that. He knows what he's doing. If this horse can run a little bit, he'll have him ready. Excuse me.
Sorry. And then, you know, you go to give me some luck dropping. After a couple of a bad race last time out, but getting Lasix, do you go there? Do you go with Fluffy on the outside with the apprentice, who we pointed out won a couple of races recently? So different ways you can go.
And Gerald Bennett got a win yesterday. And not that we need to tell the viewers who Gerald Bennett is, but it's going to start happening now. With the horses coming over as Tampa has closed now, he's going to get rolling.
Yeah, once they get as we've mentioned it ad nauseum, once they get a race over the track, they seem to run much better in that race. Going to race number 3 this afternoon. It is going to be a mile and 16th on the Tapeta starter optional claimer, and these are 3-year-olds, and we have a couple of scratches in here. Number 2, Bold and Breezy, and number 5, Always True. I always thought Bold and Breezy was going to scratch, coming back on 2 days rest. 2 days rest. When I looked at it, I said, and I was worried that maybe you missed it, that, you know, the first cut didn't have this horse because it ran so slow, but it did. It had it.
Well, I printed this out last month. So
That's happened to me in the past where you go and a horse runs, you print out the PPs, and it ran 2 days before. You know.
He could have run.
Yeah, I guess. I'm just going there. So I scratched. I know he's had, the number 4, Demontre Grass, like you do on top.
I always did too, Ron. Absolutely. This horse ran big last time. Got necked out for the win. That was off the claim for Garofalo and Chickendaz, and he's going to hit hard right back with that race at the level. And, of course, everybody's going to be a lot lower with a big morning line favorite out.
Do we have a replay with the number 7, Roscoe Pine? Let's show
Roscoe. Yeah, the reason I wanted to show this, you look at your racing form, and you see Roscoe Pine just looping along a length and a half clear at the half-mile pole. I wanted to show this. He had to work a lot harder to win this race than simply the running line might suggest. You can see him here. Basically, for the last 4 furlongs, Ron, he was in a bit of a dogfight, and what a good ride. Such a strong rider Amicio is. He's going to essentially will this horse to the wire. You've got to really do good work to pass Amicio Jaramillo in the lane. And this is just a really game, gutty performance. He's on the worst part of the track, too, down towards the inside. He did float a little bit as, Amicio's so sharp. Knows you don't want to be mired down there. And so he floated him out a little bit into the 5-path. Game win last time.
The number 3, Wanna Be Loved, is back with 3-year-olds this afternoon. I think maybe this horse has a shot for Peter Walder, who was, was gone for a while up in New York. But once he gets rolling, he can win. Now, he's got 3 wins already at the infancy part of this meet.
Absolutely, and this is a horse that has run well in the past on Tapeta, and this is a big drop for this horse. When you're running 17.5 on the turf, and now you're in this 17.5 optional claimer on the Tapeta, that's going to be a better group on the grass.
Yeah, like I say, tried older horses last time. These are straight 3s. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll have my Rainbow 6 ticket, as we mentioned at the top. Got hit yesterday. It's yours, Hans, to hit it today.
And they're off.
New DRF All Access Past Performances. With one best-in-class product, you now get all 3 past performance formats. Easily switch between views. Access the most trusted information in horse racing with DRF All Access Past Performances. Go to DRF.com and use coupon code 1FREEPP for a free single card today.
Welcome back, Gulfstream. Today, Ron and Brian. Samantha will be joining us in a bit. Race 4, Rainbow 6, as we showed you at the top, got hit yesterday. So I put a ticket together. We'll check it out real quick before we get into this race. And it's $28.80 for me. As I mentioned, we'll talk about the 4th in a minute. 5th race, 2 for me. My top pick is the 5, Basilia. That's the one that Samantha singled, I believe, in there. And then in race number 6, there's my best bet, Give Me Liberty. Tried races at Keeneland. Nolan Ramsey. Great stat, we'll show you on the horse. Lots of coverage in race number 7. My top pick is the 1, Nate the Great. I got a bunch of scratches in that race. Race number 8, my long shot is Mr. Iceman. Saratoga Flash is going to end up being, 2 to 5 in that spot. I'm going to try and beat it with a bomber, so this thing will pay a little. And just 2 for me in race number 9 with Corta Fuego and number 6, and it's Accelerate Me.
I like it. 28.80, and as we've seen time and time again, this pool will be healthy today. Usually about $60,000, $70,000 on the day, and the fact that it's a weekend too, I think, is going to flatter that much more.
Interested to see how you go in here. Did you go with the 2?
No, this is my long shot. I think Samantha's 2. Of course, that's out the window now. Gallant Knight, the 3 horse at 7 to 5, is a scratch in this race. Huge favorite now with the 2. Boombox Betty is a total reach. Quite honestly, I don't know if they're going to bet this horse or not because she has been 24 and 49 to 1. Ronnie Spatz freshens her up, takes the championship meet off with her. I look at the workouts of late. She has not run on the Tapeta, but she's never sprinted in the maiden claiming ranks either. The L is on here, Lasix, and Amicio's aboard too. I think we're going to be aggressive here, Ron.
Yeah, I always had this horse on my ticket. Okay. I had a 3rd, and I could scratch the top one. I've always had this horse. So I agree with you two guys. The number 2, it was 3 Little Birds is who I scratched into. This one, Nolan Ramsey once again, getting blinkers on, it's a gelding now. Yeah. And, I didn't know what to get. Maiden 50 optional claimers back in March, coming back. What do we get today?
Well, you get a real good trainer here that's popping with these kinds of things. 23% off this kind of middling layoff, 27% on all-weather surfaces. This horse gets off the rail after breaking slow last time. This is a huge drop. Blinkers, first-time gelding. Rajiv, or I think this is another horse that's going to be try to be involved early.
Yeah, and New York bred. We'll see how this one, right?
Yeah.
New York bred, yeah. So then we have the number 6 horse in here, and that's Senor Money, and that's what we're trying to get you this afternoon. You got to be a forgiving sort off the last 2.
You do, but this was good groups. They were older horses as well, and the only Tapeta race every time he's been on it, was back in January. Championship meet. Wasn't a bad effort when he was third in that spot. Jose Pinchin's rolling pretty good, too.
Yeah, and a lot of races today, straight 3-year-olds. You notice that?
I did.
Of course
That's
you
why I
did.
think it's significant
Yeah.
that this guy now was in against older horses the last 2 times.
Well, we're going to go to race number 5 on the turf here, and that's 1 mile on the main turf that is firm. These are filly and mares, 3-year-olds and up. Scratch the 1 wellness and mile on the turf. Samantha's got a late pick 5. We already know she likes Basilia. Let's see what her ticket looks like. Yeah, she singled it. Race number 6. Yeah, you go deep in there. Why not? That's a tough race in that top. She's got 1, 2, 5. Race number 7, 1, 5 for Nate the Great, Navy Cross. They're the logical 2, I think, Brian. Race number 8. 3 deep in there, and she's got the 3 on top. She's got 3, 5, and 8. And in the last, I think 2 is the one to beat near Corta Fuego. 8 to 5 on the morning line.
Yeah, I think, Ron, and we're going to get to race number 7 in a second, obviously. I think the reason the 4 scratches were in that race were because of Nate the Great and Navy Cross. I mean, there are 2 horses that could honestly be odds on. Two horses in that race.
Yeah. Definitely. So here he is, the 5th race, going back. We'll start it off with, let's see what you want to start it off with here. You also had the 5 we'll talk about.
Yeah.
Basilia, we're all on this horse today.
Yeah, this is my best bet of the day. And now Safi's got 2 newcomers. We talked about this earlier. He's got the 5 Basilia for Resolute, and he's got the 4 Latte Lizzie for Madacat in the group. Both trainer switches into the barn. That's 29%. We got the stat for that too. We can take a look at the stat while we'll talk about this. What does Basilia have that the other Latte Lizzie doesn't have? She's got upside, Ron. She's only run 3 times.
You look at this, both the horses there. I put them both on, but see, like Lizzie, 20%, 42% in the money, 163 is the return investment. First off, a trainer switch on the turf. And these are all red numbers. They're not, his normal percentage.
Yeah.
But it's amazing to me. He did it 90 times.
That's a good point too.
So now we get back to the 2 horses that.
Yeah, I mean, look at Basilia. She's run 3 times. Her last race was by far her best effort. So now Safi freshens her up a little bit. Certainly looks like she's working very well. Then you look at the 4 Latte Lizzie, who's Ronnie's got in second. She's literally run the same exact race 3 starts in a row. That was for Chad Brown. I don't know how much more she's going to have to give, Ron.
Yeah, but they did the horses that first off in his barn yesterday lit up the board.
They did.
So maybe we get something like that. So I threw both of them a ticket. I was torn whether to put the 4 or 5 on top of there. But there's other things we want to check out in this race. We got a couple of videos. A video we want to show you of Tree Seas, Kai, and back to Gridlock.
Yep. So this was a sprint, albeit, okay, and back to Gridlock's a little in trouble today at the rails out at 66 feet. But they ran very, very well here. I thought, because I've played this darn Tree Seas Kai about 32 times, it seems. I thought for a second she was actually going to win, Ron. And both of these horses ran very, very well. This kicked off the rainbow this day, and still have no idea why Alastaradas won, but Jose Morelos gave her a great ride, put her into the race. She had never been put into a race before. Back to Gridlock. Off a switch, off a layoff, runs huge in here. She's very dangerous stretching out, Ron.
Yeah, I like her. I'm going to take a Kola Murad, the trainer, Rajiv Miraj in the saddle this afternoon. So the 5th race, as we mentioned, kicking off that late pick 5 this afternoon. Flipping the page, going to race number 6. It's a mile on the fast main track. These are claimers, 3-year-olds, and up with no scratches, no jockey changes to let you know about. You got your late pick 4 ticket. Well, look at it.
Yep, just $9 for me. We're going to have 3 in here, the logicals in here. Race number 7. Listen, I could have made this ticket $18, obviously, Ron, but, I say this a lot. I don't want to use Nate the Great and Navy Cross equally.
Right.
So I could play this ticket maybe 3 times with the 5. I'll play it once with the 1.
Right.
You can't. It's a pet peeve of mine, but if you use the 5 and the 1, it says you like them exactly the same. You got to have an opinion. Come on now. Race number 8, I've got the 5 on top. Saratoga Flash, you mentioned. Short number in there. Race 9, the 6, Accelerate Me.
Yeah, those are logical horses. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, buy another ticket. That's all. They're not that expensive, right?
There you go. They're not that expensive.
But what are you buying another ticket for? If you make that decision, boom.
Well, you can have a little backup, a little added equity.
Okay, let's start off with the race number
French Open to me was good this morning. You know,
Yeah.
I got some bankroll.
Oh,
today.
good,
To fire
good,
a little
good,
bit.
good,
Yeah.
good. Started off with the
Okay.
number 7 horse in here, Mustang Bay.
Yeah, I'm not picking your horse. We'll talk about that in a second. We got 2 dominant maiden claiming winners here. The Mustang Bay is the first of them, and then Flat Cap is the next one. And I'm going to use both of them. You know how much I like Carlos Perez and a Barrio stable. I love the post position here. Both of these horses come in off breakthrough wins. They're going to have to run better, but there's a chance, you know, maybe they're meeting a vulnerable favorite in here, and you can take it away with Give Me Liberty. Voided Clay McKeenan last time.
Yeah, you know, the Voided Clay McKeenan, you know, I'm not putting too much stock in that, but, you know, whatever reasons behind it, I do not know. I really trust the connections. I think they put this horse in an ideal spot. I want to show you a stat which tilted me this way this afternoon for a Nolan. Ramsey, look, second off the 45 to 100 day layoff. In the past 2 years, he's only been training 2 years.
That's a good point.
36%, 58%, 380 is the return of investment. You can actually see this stat almost in the form. They're not usually up to date as in formulator is. That's a good stat. So in Nolan, I trust, and I think he can run well in here, this horse. And you know, I had to get a single in my Rainbow Six ticket, and that was where I decided to go.
You know, there can be 1,000 reasons why there's a voided claim.
Yeah.
Could be paperwork. Could
Right.
be anything. Point being, if the horse is entered to run, the horse is ready to go.
Right.
The horse is
Exactly.
sound, okay?
Exactly.
Look at the works. They've been very, very solid, especially on May 15th. So you just have to take it at that. I just thought, you know what, the horse can be a short number, too.
Yeah, you know, the mile in the 16 to Keeneland's the first finish line. They're going to be a mile today, a one-turn mile. I think that makes this horse look even a little bit better to me.
Well, this horse is essentially exactly like Flat Tap at Mustang Bay, except a little better, because he broke his maiden for 25 right here at this trip by the length of the stretch, and the second-place horse came back to win.
Yeah, so we'll see how race 6 plays out. My single in the Rainbow Six, and, of course, my best bet of the afternoon. Race number 7, I'm going to stretch it out to a mile and a 16th on the Tapeta. It's a starter optional claimer, and these are 4-year-olds and upward. And here's the ones we were talking about, the scratches in here, the 2, the 3, the 6, and the 7. Amazingly, I had not picked the 2, the 3, the 6, or the 7. Did you?
I had the 7 and 4. So.
I didn't. I had a clean sweep in here.
Yeah.
You mentioned Nate the Great. You mentioned Navy Cross. Let's start with Nate, who you're fading a little bit in here, and we'll see how that video looks.
All right, here's Nate the Great. Gutted it out last time. Won by a nose. He was chasing and pressing Ernesto, who I don't think Ernesto was a stablemate anymore in this spot. Doing the dirty work, he guts it out. He's going to end up winning by a nose, and you can see him here. You know, Ernesto is pretty solid at this level. He's a little out of his element at that level, but he's solid. And Nate the Great had to work hard to get by him. And Edgar just kind of dragged him home because he's not supposed to win from here, okay? Clear Destination has got to go by here, and he didn't for whatever reason. Nate the Great was good. This, to me, Ron, I think he did go by right there, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
To me, Ron, this was a post-position race. We'll now show Navy Cross.
Right.
Here's the other thing, okay? You're going to see who's running second to Navy Cross. It's Clear Destination.
Right.
He beat him by a length.
Right.
Okay. Nate the Great beat him by a nose.
Right.
So there's that. I made Navy Cross the favorite because he's outside and because he did win by a little more comfortable over Clear Destination. The post position is a huge coup for Navy Cross to be outside.
Yeah, you know, Navy Cross, you mentioned the connections there with Carlos Perez, you know, and Edgar Perez in the saddle this afternoon. But, you know, Nate the Great is Bobby the Bona. He's going to take money. He might become the favorite in there. You know, just, you know, they see Bobby the Bona, they're going to bet him. You make a great point. One had a hustle to win. The other one, you know, was able to just cruise and beat a horse by the length.
Yep.
All those things are good. You know, you got to use 1 and 5. You know,
yes.
And if you
In
can
some
use
way,
somebody
shape, or
else,
form.
maybe you throw the 8 in there, Uno Tiger, you know, somewhere along the line. You think he has any kind of shot for Kathleen?
Well, here's the thing. There's 4 horses in this race. The 2 huge favorites, there is a chance they're going to go up and they're going to tangle with each other. Here's Uno Tiger, second off a very, very long layoff. Did not run poorly behind Hot Blooded last time. Has 4 Tapeta wins. You get Kathleen O in your corner, you got something working there.
And Hot Blooded on a tear.
Yep.
So, I
Absolutely.
think if you're looking to, maybe beat those two, I think you'd throw Uno Tiger in there, which I did on my Rainbow Six ticket. I think maybe I did. Maybe I faded it. I thought I did. Race number 8 this afternoon is going to be 7.5 furlongs on the turf. These are the claimers, 3-year-olds or 4-year-olds and up, which have never won 3 races. Scratch the 2 Manor House, the 4 Sting Music. And here is where the Coast to Coast is going to start, and the Tropical Turf Pick 3 is going to end.
Yep, and we're going to have tickets for the Coast to Coast today, too, so check that out.
Tickets and wages. We're putting our money where our mouth is, right?
You got it.
So, we're getting better today. So
you start with your horse, because my horse is going to be, like you said, could very well be 4 to 5. You lead it off.
So, if you're looking at the 7, okay, here's my thought on this Mr. Iceman. You look back, he's been sprinting in the West Coast, Oakland Park, Santa Anita. He's faced some tough horses in there, and I just thought coming off the bench from Mark Cassie, Edwin Gonzalez, maybe this one stretching out to the 7.5 furlongs daily racing form. That is 2 turns, if you don't know that. And I just think this horse, of course, I'm bucking heads with Saratoga Flash, but I'm looking for a little bit of a price there, and I'm thinking this horse might be up there on the pace, or maybe not on the pace, near the pace. That was my thought.
Wouldn't shock me at all if you get an aggressive ride from here. The problem is Saratoga Flash has got pace, too. Again, we've talked about this now so many times. Cassie Barnes is not winning. They're running well. Dancing and Dixie wins the stakes yesterday, and she gets out. I feel very strongly about that. I want to take nothing away from the winner. Let's go Coco. We'll show it in the lightning round. If she got out off the turn, she wins the stakes. So this barn is, to me, right on the precipice of turning over a little bit.
Now, you look at Saratoga Flash where you went, and a lot, it's handicapping 101. The horse is dropping. He's in for $35,000. He ran okay into Mr. Steele. You could see he runs good at $62,500. He hasn't won in a while, you know what I mean? So, but he was in the Fort Lauderdale. He's got the class. So the question is, why the drop? And where's he been?
Yeah, here's the thing. He's a 7-year-old gelding. What are you going to do? I mean, a lot of people don't like to claim off Saffie. It's so hard to improve. I got to be perfectly honest with you. I love what you're doing. I wish I was doing it too. I just couldn't come up with anything because this is a horse that is going to be, to me, could be very vulnerable on what is seemingly, as you kind of alluded to and hinted at. I know it's $35,000 and you still have to reach into your pocket and spend it.
Right.
The drop is a little worrisome.
Yeah. And, what about the number 3 Battle Call who got that video you want to show of for Jose Gallegos' runner? Yeah,
we're going to take a look at it here. Now, he did, I don't want to say blow a open length lead, but he was length clear. The problem is, I think you've played My Sea Cottage many times. He is darn fast.
Yeah.
And Battle Call is just, what are you doing? Dueling 45-2 with My Sea Cottage. And so to me, Battle Call ran a winning race. He just gets run down by Mr. Barrio, who tripped out beautifully in here. Battle Call, this is the old win the battle, lose the war, no pun intended. And he just got swooped this day. This is a huge effort, Ron.
Yeah, no, he ran exceptionally well in there. Does he cause problems for the big favorite in here?
Well, that's possible. If he's going to go 45-2, he's going to cause problems for everybody, himself included.
So maybe my horse will just sit off these, wild pace and get a score. Of course, mine is not a speed play. Mine is more of a stalk play, stalk the action. So different ways to go in here. What about the number 6 in here, and that is Speed Runner?
Well, Speed Runner could trip out, okay? It's Kent Sweezy, Whisper Hill homebred here. I know just 0 for 2 on the turf and has never hit the board. You look at this horse, he might sit the right kind of trip because we've talked a lot about horses that want to be close and rolling early on.
Yeah, we'll see how and also one other horse I want to touch on, Brian, and that's the outside. Used in 4th and that's Jack Kerouac for Ronnie Spatz. This horse has run some pretty good races. I don't know what happened last time. It was a tough group. A couple of next out winners came out of that race. Yep. So what do we get today?
Well, he's got post problems today because with the rails out at 66 feet.
Wow.
There are 2 scratches. That's going to help him, but he's still probably trying to loop on the far turn. That is problematic. You see it time and time again.
Yep. let's go to our final race on the card this afternoon, race number 9, and it's not on the turf for some reason today. They decided to go with the Tapeta, mile 70 yards, maiden claimers for 3-year-olds once again. Scratch the number 4 horse in here, Il Marchese, and what we got? Yeah, 6226. Right?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. You got Cortafuega and Accelerate Me. I went to the outside a little bit with Accelerate Me. I already mentioned Sweezy and Whisper Hill. They'll team up again here today. We're going to try the Tapeta for the first time, and I mentioned this earlier. This is a big drop for this horse because the turf races are going to be a lot better than your 17.5 Tapeta claimers.
Yeah, a lot of these horses ran on the turf last time. So, I went with Cortafuego, Jose D'Angelo. Very simple. 35 last time, 17.5. Trying the Tapeta for the first time. You get Edgard's eyes. He's got, not adding yesterday, he was tied with Safi for the lead in the trainer stand. He told Safi went berserk yesterday a little bit with some winners in there.
Yeah.
So, but the point I'm trying to make, the barn is going very, very well.
Yeah, this is so much the horse to beat. He's just got to handle the Tapeta. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, and what about the 5, Imperatus?
Well, you know what? If nothing else, he actually has run okay in the only Tapeta star. And look who it was against. It was against optional claimers. It was against winners, okay? And he ran 3rd that day and beat a few horses. So the only time he's ever tried the surface, he was in against way tougher than this. The problem with him is just look at the figures, Ron. He's going to just do that again. I don't know if that's going to cut it.
Milazzo.
Yeah.
The number 9, we got to replay.
Yeah, I want to show this. I don't know if we're calling him the other Antonio. They're 9-2 and 5-1. He traffic upper. Yeah, he did have some traffic. There's no doubt about it. He's idling here. Edgar he's in a sandwich here. There's nothing he can do. And now he kind of gets, we'll call it stuck. He gets stuck down on the inside. And this horse ran here, Ron, and we've seen this time and time again. The inside is just not any good. Look what the 2's doing. That is a perfect example of what we're talking about on the Tapeta. The 2 is closing down the crown of the track in the center, 10, 8, 9, 10, 11 path. The Milazzo's trying to come up the fence. The fact that he did it so well, Edwin's going to have to work out a trip from out here.
And all the people out there that were born in Corona, Queens, our doctor in our area, in our Italian neighborhood, was Dr. Milazzo. I don't know what the connection is, but he was
that was your doctor? I thought you had a different doctor.
No, oh, you mean Vinny Watts? No,
yeah, you're welcome, by the way.
No, but that was Dr. Milazzo. Everybody went there. He was the only doctor in town. Don't even know if he had a license, but he certainly made you feel better. I don't know where I'm going with this. I hope we're going to the lightning round.
Ring my friend, call Dr. Robert. Yeah, let's do that. Let's segue to the lightning round.
Yeah, what do we got going? You got the
stakes? We got double stakes yesterday, and I think the last one is the most important because in the powder break, Let's Go Coco dusted him on the front end, and she paid $16 and change to win, but she paid $143,000 to somebody or a group of somebodies.
Right here, I think my long shot to 5 is going to get it, but no. She just kept going, and $143,000 landed in someone's pocket with that number 4.
And you know what? Like I said, I think the 1 wins if she gets out, and I know it's a speed course out there. When you go back and look at those fractions, they didn't give it to her. She went out there and took it.
No.
46 and change, and she earned it.
No, she ran a good race, and we were talking about it. We were on together, and it looked like she had a shot.
She
Big
did
shot.
have a shot, yeah.
What else we got?
Well, Safi, here's a surprise because Safi had Andrea, who was, one of the favorites in the game face. But here's Love You Morgan off a very, let's just be honest, slow maiden special weight win. She stepped up, and she was good at 10-1, too.
Yeah, she ran a very good race in our cohort. Ed Gray wrote a great story about Love You Morgan. You check it out. It's in the notes there. It's a very exciting story about Love You Morgan.
Coast to coast today, huh?
Yeah. Race number 8, I believe it starts. Here it is.
Yep, there we go.
Race number 8. We will be playing. Brian and Samantha will all have tickets out, just waiting on the scratches for Santa Anita.
Well, I'm going to tell you what. This is going to be my favorite coast to coast ever because this is 1 hour and 29 minutes, Ron. I love that. I love the
action.
Yeah, the action and the bing, bing, bing. You only got to stick around for 3 episodes of the sitcom, so that's pretty cool to me. And like we said, and Ronnie said, and I mentioned Samantha too, we'll have tickets out there, and we'll be sending it in.
Yep, and we got the Tropical Turf Pick 3, which starting in race number 1 today.
24
so
minutes.
24 minutes away, so make sure you jump aboard. That's not going to be a little later on, and it ends with 1, 5, and 8. Those are the races in that sequence, and it's a great 15% takeout. Everybody knows, always pays great. Best bet today for you?
Yeah, it's the first of the 2 Safis in race 5, and that is the 5, Basilia Safi in John Stewart's Resolute Racing.
Mine is this 2-horse in race number 6, and it is Give Me Liberty or Give Me, no, I'm not going to say that. And then the long shot today, yours is?
Well, it's in race 4, Boombox Betty. Now, she's 6-1 on the morning line. A 7-5 morning line favorite is out of that race. I don't know if they're going to bet
change.
her.
I mean, this horse is second on my, when you look at it right now. Long shot is for me, trying to beat a bombster in there with Mr. Iceman at 10-1, trying to sit a nice trip in there with the rail out 66 feet. We'll see how that plays out. That's it for us. As I mentioned, Samantha will be joining us momentarily. Good luck with all your selections, coast to coast for us, right?
Looking forward to that later on.